Hey guys, what's going on? I go by the in-game name of Function, and today I'm going to be bringing you an Overwatch closed beta feedback video. Now, just a reminder, the beta's only been out for about 4 or 5 days, and this entire video is completely my opinion. I haven't gathered this information from multiple resources or anything like that. I'm not saying it's actually what's wrong with the game and it needs to be fixed in order to make it playable. It's just my opinion. Also, just for starters, I think the game is amazing. I'm definitely going to be playing it regardless of what anybody says. So, let's jump right into the pros. The first thing I want to talk about is how quick the matches are. It makes it very suitable for casual players, those men and women out there that have jobs, kids, go to school, whatever it is that you may do in your pastime. It makes it very easy to just sit down for about an hour or two a day and just play multiple games. I think this is a smart approach by Blizzard, targeting both the casual players and the people who want to play hardcore. So it's a good business move, and just from a gamer perspective, it's just nice to see. The second point I want to talk about is following that, the overall pace of the game, how fast the characters move, how fast you can move the payload to the objectives, all that good stuff. I think the characters, they don't move too quickly to where you can't hit your shots. If you love playing Widowmaker, I'm personally not that great at Widowmaker, so I'm still getting better. But the pace of the game is nice. It's refreshing. I don't want to say it's new because we've had games like this in the past, but it is definitely my personal type of favorite pace of game. Next, another thing to add to the pros list, most heroes are pretty easy to adapt to. They're obviously going to take some time to master. There's little tips and tricks that you can do with each hero, but for the most part, if your team needs a Reinhardt ASAP and you've never played him before, but you decide that your hero that you're playing now is being least effective, so you rather be the one to switch, you can pick it up and still be effective for your team. And I like that about the game. It's the game overall is easy to play, it's easy to learn, it's not complicated at all. So that's a huge plus. The next point I'm going to talk about is not really have anything to do with, well, I mean, it kind of has to do with the game, but it's more so about Blizzard. I like how fast they are responding to the community. Specifically to Reddit, I guess. I don't know where this was posted, but people were complaining about the aim assist on controllers, and within a couple of days, I think it might have been the next day, Blizzard released a patch removing aim assist from the game completely. So I think that's smart on their part to be listening to the community and responding to the community. One thing that I do see as a downside to that is if they listen to the community too much. Because sometimes we're not going to know what's best for the game, and you shouldn't let other people ruin your vision in life, period. And I'm not trying to tell Blizzard how to run their company or anything like that. They're a very successful company. But I think it could also be a downside if they listen too much to the community about what we would like to see changed or added or things like that. Excuse me. The last thing I want to talk about for pros for this video is that every hero has their strength, making them very compatible in a team setting. Perfect example, Symmetra was not my type of hero. I would not play that type of support ever in any game, but since it's the closed beta, to get a accurate reading on the game, you have to play all the heroes. So I decided to play her for a couple games, and she's actually really fun and effective, especially for defense. Especially her portal too. Her portal makes her insanely good, getting back to objective A, especially when you spawn all the way away from it. So every hero has their strengths, and they also have their weaknesses. There's counters to everything. You can get around everything. So I think overall the balancing is good. There's a couple things that I'm going to talk about in the cons that have to do with balancing, but for the majority, I'd say they've done well. Speaking about the cons, and this is where everybody's going to hate me or rip my head off, but let's just get through it together as a team, as a family, and just be understanding. Remember, this is just my opinion. This isn't anything but my opinion. So the first thing I want to talk about that really kind of annoys me is it's way too easy to lose when you're attacking even when the payload is right next to the last checkpoint. A perfect example is when I first started playing, we had literally the payload was like one step away from the last point. And what the other team decided to do was switch to all tanks. Not all, it was about 3 or 4 tanks, and we could not, we could not counter them. The game was already in overtime, and there just wasn't enough time to think about what to do or think about what to switch to. I'm not really sure if maybe it's because the game is new and people still are trying to get the hang of things. That could be it. But for the most part, that was pretty disappointing. Losing when we were winning the entire game, and then right at the last point we lose. That was just annoying. So I don't know. Maybe we as the attackers were doing something wrong. But like I said, there wasn't much time left in the game to switch or anything like that. The next thing I want to talk about is Tracer. Her clip size, I feel like, may be too small. Either that or her damage needs a little bit of a tweak increase. And let me explain my thought process on this. Tracer is supposed to be the ultimate dueler. Like, when you encounter a Tracer one-on-one, she should most of the time be able to beat, from my perspective. Obviously, there's counters like McCree. Reaper, I would say, is an insane counter at close range. He can one-shot you, definitely, which with just literally one click. So there are counters to Tracer, but I feel like she's a little too underpowered in terms of her damage. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe there's more gameplay that I need to do with her to really figure it out, but I feel like the clip size could be increased to about 50 or 60. I feel like she reloads too much in a one-on-one scenario. Maybe that would make her too overpowered. I'm not sure, but it's just how I feel about Tracer right now. Other than that, she's really strong. If you play really well, you can be very annoying to the enemy team. The next thing I want to talk about is Bastion and his shield. I don't necessarily think that a solo Bastion is hard to take out. I've killed many of them, but it's kind of ridiculous when you have a Bastion and, like, let's say a 76 and, I don't know, someone else there to support the Bastion. It makes it almost impossible to kill him. I think that's a little disappointing, and I think it mainly has to do with the shield. I think if the shield was reduced to about, I don't know, maybe 700 or 650 rather than 1,000, I think it would balance it out a little bit more, making him easier to kill, basically, when you're attacking him from the front. Now, if you can flank a Bastion, he's no problem, but a good Bastion with decent positioning isn't going to allow you to do that, and if he has support of his team, it's going to be insanely hard to do. The next con I want to talk about is hit reg. I don't really know. I'm not 100% sure about this, but sometimes I feel like my shots aren't exactly hitting, even when I feel like they should be. Specifically with characters like Widowmaker, where you can more so notice the hit reg. I don't know if maybe I'm just missing. I'm not sure. I don't know if other people are having a problem with this, but there are times where I'm just like, what? I don't know how that guy did not die, or I don't know how I didn't hit him. Blah blah blah. But that's like every game, though. You're gonna have. I don't really consider that a con. It's just a concern, really. This one's the most important that I'm about to talk about, and I don't know if there's a fix for it, or if it's just more of a complaint. And that's playing matchmaking with no communication is incredibly difficult. It makes the game really hard to win. It makes it harder to work as a team when people, either don't have mics or they're just choosing not to use their mics. Whatever the issue at hand may be, I'm not sure. But like I said, I don't think there's a real fix for it. I think it's just the way people are. So yeah, I guess that's more of a complaint, just in general complaint rather than a con about the game. Lastly, play of the game. And I know if you've been playing the beta or you've been watching people play the beta, you have seen ridiculous plays of the game that should not have been play of the game. Like sometimes it's just a Mercy holding her right click on a Bastion that got 2 kills or something. More specifically, there was a game where I was playing 76 and we were losing. We were about to lose. And I ran in on the point, used my ult, and I killed 4 of them, and solo took the point by myself, and we won the game. But the play of the game was like a Tracer getting a double kill with her sticky grenade. So it's like I don't know the how that might have been more beneficial to the game than what I did. I don't know if it doesn't calculate at the end, maybe. I'm not sure. But plays of the game, I think they need to be tweaked a little bit. Lastly, I just want to talk about esports and the esports scene for Overwatch. Blizzard has stated multiple times that this game they want it to be an esport. Their past games have been a part of esports, so I'm sure they have an idea on how to approach bringing Overwatch into the FPS esports scene. So I'm not too worried about that. The community itself, there's some subreddits that are already setting up small tournaments and little events to help try to build that competitive aspect to the game. But the problem is there aren't enough people in the beta, so there's not that many teams that are being formed, or there's like incomplete teams that are formed currently, and yeah, I think Blizzard, they really need to open up the beta a little more. I know they don't want it to be like a swarmed beta or anything like that, but I think from an a competitive aspect to make this an esport, we need to, as a community, set up tournaments, and in order to do that, we need players. So I think Blizzard should open up the beta a little more than what they have been doing. And that's about it, honestly. Um, the last thing I want to say is I stream frequently. I'm doing a giveaway currently for a Counter-Strike Ghost skin. It's an Op Asimov field tested. It's worth about $60, I'd say. I'm going to be doing multiple giveaways from. I have a ton of gaming mice, keyboards, headsets, and all that stuff. I'm going to be doing that when the followers hit a little bit higher. So the way you enter is just by following my Twitter, retweet the giveaway tweet, and follow my Twitch. And all the links will be in the description below. And I wish all of you good luck, and don't kill me for my cons, please. It's just an opinion. And that's it. So until next time, good luck.